Welcome back, Minties. This is Omar from Near Mint Condition. And today I'm going to do a quick overview of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Omnibus Jubilee Edition. So, please stay tuned. Okay, let's look at the contents of this book. This is the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Omnibus Jubilee Edition. There was a previous omnibus release back there, that is the softcover by the way, that did not include the Black Dossier. So this new edition includes it. And it is taller. New omnibus is as tall as a regular size omnibus. So let's look at the content and the artwork while we talk just a little bit about it. Here's what the inside of the dust jacket looks like. It's got that old school book look to it. I like that. Okay, let's look inside here and look at the content of the book, kicking off with Volume 1. So this particular hardcover collects both Volume 1 and 2 of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and it also collects the Black Dossier. So the original comics came out in the late 90s. There were six. It was a 6-issue miniseries. That's what Volume 1 is. And it was published by ABC, which is a part of Wildstorm, which again was absorbed by DC Comics, much like Promethea in those books. It was ABC, America's Best Comics, published those, and Alan Moore. But the rights belong to Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill. This is all Kevin O'Neill's artwork, by the way. And then I think what happened was when the rights got bought out by DC, Alan Moore got into an argument with them because it's Alan Moore, and eventually took his book to either Top Shelf or... No, Top Shelf does print some, and Knockout Comics. So that's why we have different book sets. So DC can only print the first 2 volumes and the Black Dossier. And the other books, I think Nemo is owned by Top Shelf Studios. You can get like a hardcover slipcase. And then the other books are by Knockout Studios, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember because I only own the DC stuff. So this replaces the old omnibus because it contains the, like I said, the Black Dossier. And it does contain the 3D art. So what the story is kind of like a Victorian age Justice League in England. That's the way that Alan Moore best describes it. And honestly, that's the way it really is. With characters from literature. So you got like the Invisible Man, Captain Nemo, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and of course your main protagonist, Mina Murray. And it takes place like in the 60s, I believe. I love the first volume. I think it was awesome. The setup of how all these characters came together. The second volume, it was still solid, but I don't know, it didn't capture that magic. Of course, this is a lot better than that god-awful movie, if you happen to see that, and that's all you know about this book. It's one of my favorite Alan Moore stories, that's for sure. So the first 2 are pretty solid, right? Like I said, it kind of slowed down in the second volume. But by the time I started reading the Black Dossier, shit, I don't know what the hell Alan Moore was on, because this got so deep, and I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe he's just really too smart for me. Not to say it's pretentious the way that it's written, but it's just, like, I don't even know what I'm looking at sometimes. It just got to be too much. And I'll show you some of the trippy artwork here, because it does come with the 3D glasses, by the way, here in the final story that you'll need. Because the art gets trippy, and it's an interesting way of doing 3D. Let's look back here. Yeah, like this scene's here. It's when you put them on. I don't know, it's an interesting way of doing it because if you close your left eye, you can only see some pictures. You close your right eye, because of the way that the 3D glasses are made, you can only see other pictures. I don't know. I felt like, I don't think I even finished this story. It's because it just derives so much from the main story. It does come with the 3D glasses. I don't want to show you, well, here, I'll do this. I don't want to show you the final page of the Black Dossier, but yeah, it comes like that. But I really do think it's worth checking out if you've never read the story. I think it's one of Alan Moore's best stories that he's told, at least volumes 1 and 2. I'm serious, they are pretty solid, and the artwork is really great. These have been available in absolute formats and soft covers, in trade paperbacks, and like I said, the other studios like Top Shelf and Knockout Studios, I believe, own the rights to the other stories like Captain Nemo. So this collects everything that DC owns the rights to. It got interesting though when I got into the Black Dossier. The one thing I will say about it is that they couldn't use like the names like Emma Peel or James Bond because they're not public domain names, much like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and things like that. So they had to you had to work around that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And just showing off a couple more pages of the artwork. Like I said, don't compare it to the movie. The movie is pretty god-awful. But the books themselves are a lot of fun. And probably my top 3 favorite Alan Moore stories that he's written. Because of the glued binding, I think that's what's happening with this. It just starts shutting on you when you get too... Doesn't lay as well as it should, rather. But, you know, once you get enough pages in, it will lay down flat. It's about my big complaint about the new build of the book. They should have gone with some sewn binding. And that was the contents of the new League Omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you picked this up, if you decided to keep your old Omnibus edition because you weren't a big fan of the Black Dossier, and also if you own all the other League books by other publishers. Again, this was Omar. Thank you very much for watching, and please remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.